Well, good morning, fans. We got another job on the bench here today. This was dropped off. This guitar, it's an acoustic guitar. I haven't opened it up yet. All I know is that the lady sent it with a friend, dropped it off a couple days ago, and wants me to take a look at it as far as the string height on the action. So we're going to take a look at that today and see what we can figure out. She says it's a little hard to play. So we'll take a look at it, open it up, and we'll see what we can do. And also, I'm going to give you a little look at some of the equipment I just got into the shop here to help me with my troubleshooting efforts. So stand by, and I'm just going to run over and get the cam and give you a little walk around, then take a look at this guitar. So stand by. Yeah, I'll just give you a little quick tour. I did have a few additions to the shop here. The first thing I ended up doing was put on this big white top on my workbench. Just so I've got enough room to, put my equipment kind of along the back. You can see some stuff back in here. And then I still got a nice work area up front to lay the guitars down and work on them. So added a couple of work lamps here. There's one of them on this bench here, and then I put another one on this back table back here that I sometimes do a little work on too. So that's been added, and then just take a little look back here. The other thing that I desperately needed was I needed a decent oscilloscope, and anyways, I got that in just this week, and I also got a tone generator that I ordered and whatnot, and of course I ordered the probes for both. So now when I get into those darn old tube amps and trying to look for a problem and what component is causing the static or the hum or the buzz, at least with the oscilloscope, it's going to make it a little easier for me to kind of walk through and touch stuff with a little stylus or something and see if I can figure out what component is causing the problem. So that's going to really help moving forward on tube amp repair. And back in the corner here, I picked up, it's working too, I picked up an old vintage tube, here, let me see if we get back and show it to you. An old tube tester here. So though I got one that I ordered that came in all smashed, and it ended up in the garbage. Then I found another one online, and I ordered it. Cost me a few bucks more, but I ordered it in, and it came in actually just mint shape. It's got I don't know what the guy did to it, but he cleaned it up really good, and it's got a silver box on it that looks brand new. But like I say, it's an old vintage tube tester, but in good working condition. So that's kind of been added to the workbench to help out. So with that, let's go back here, and we're going to take a look at this guitar that came in. And it's always fun doing this one-handed, eh? With a webcam in your hand. But let's open this thing up, and hopefully we'll see what. Yeah, no, the zipper's stuck, so I'm going to have to put this down and open it up. The zipper's stuck right on that corner, and she ain't moving. Well, so voila, here's what we've got for the task of the day. Oh yeah, so what do we got here? We got a Washburn, eh? Yeah, and it looks like it's in pretty good shape. Looks like mahogany body on it. Let's take a look here. Can't get that to focus with those strings in the way. But anyways, it's a Washburn, serial number CC171004735. And it looks like the model number is WL0125E. So I'm not sure what all that means. It's got a preamp on it. So we're going to be testing that out, making sure that preamp works. Oh, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. So let's take a look and see here. I'm going to put it on the bench and put the webcam up on top for the sky view. We'll take a look and see what the problem is with this action. So stand by. Well, we have it down on the workbench. I haven't got on the Skycam yet, but I just thought, I just noticed a few things that I'm going to share with the audience here. And anyway, you can see had nice headstock, everything looks good. I took a look just on feel. The action on this nut to me is a little high. It's not, I'm going to go down, it's not real high. If you go down, it's, but you can see definitely that nut is a little on the high side. So part of the job today is going to be dropping that nut down a little bit. Excuse me. There's all different ways of measuring what you should have the height, but you know what? I've done all the methods in the world, and I just generally go by feel now. So that's a method I'm going to use today when I drop that nut down. Just basically how it feels when I put the strings on it. So that's one little thing I notice. Over here, looking at the bridge, you can see it's got a compensated bridge saddle on it here, which is fine and dandy. And I took a look on the side view, and it's certainly, you know, as far as the bridge, it's not pulled up, so that's in good shape. A little bit of belly up, but not very much. I would say, you know, normal for this guitar. The one thing I want to draw your attention to, though, is somebody look at these guys. If you look at the darn things, what they've done is they've rammed them right down in there. There's no way to get anything in there other than destroy that to get it out. These ones on this side, that one's not almost to the point, it's under. These three are okay, but these two for sure, there's no way they're coming out. I'm gonna have to take the strings off this this guitar. Gonna have to get my hand in there and probably somehow pound those pegs up from the bottom up to get them out, because I'm just look. There is no way those guys pounded in like that are gonna come out. So I'm just hoping when I get them out, we don't have a hole that's drilled too big, and then we got to start shimming that as well. So we'll see when we get them out what the situation is. So as far as the height off the you know, the 12th string is concerned, I'm just taking a look at it. It's a little on the high side. There's no doubt about it. It looks like it's around, I did a quick measurement before I started filming here, and I think that's around, I don't know, 7/64 or so, almost pushing 8/64 of an inch off the 12th fret. So that definitely is a little on the high side, and the E is a little lower. It's over here. I measured it. It's around 5/64. So we're going to try to probably, you know, take the nut down first. That's the first effort, get the nut down, and then go back here and probably going to have to lower that saddle a little bit, not a lot, but we're gonna lower it just a tad. I already checked the relief on this thing, and it's right on. I'll do it again when I lower the nut. You'll see me doing that. But as far as the neck relief is concerned, it's already well within specs. I believe it was 12 1/1000ths of an inch, if I'm not mistaken. So no problem with the neck relief at this point in time. Well, anyway, up to the Skycam. Well, the first effort we got to do here, folks, is we got to get these pegs out of the holes here that have been pushed down right into the, you know, there's a little tool you can use to pull those pegs out, and it looks something like this, but there's no way that's gonna go and get underneath those pegs. So that means these strings got to come right off before anything else happens. So let's get the strings off, I guess. That's unfortunate. If I'm lucky, I might not have to take the strings all the way off. I might be able to get at it just loosening them up, but we're going to see in a minute. Got to get them all loosened up to get the nut off anyway. So we'll go at that right now. It looks like a new set of strings from what I can tell. Just went on here. They look fairly new. I'm not sure what they are yet till I get the get them out and take a look. Let's see if I can get this to. So we're getting this opened up here. Got one of these quick turners here that to take the strings off. I still haven't got an attachment for my power drill yet to go on the end. I don't know why. Maybe I like doing things the hard way. I don't know. Well, let's get this off first. We shall see what we shall see here once we get this off of here. So far, the tuners feel like they're fairly good. I don't see any slippage or anything loose on that yet. So that's always a good sign. Well, I got that pretty loose now. I can't get my hand in here or what? Holy moly. How am I going to get those pegs out? Huh. Wow. Isn't that a son of a gun? Well, I guess the strings are going to have to come right off. I'm going to have to get in there with something to pound them out backwards and get them out of there. So I may as well put this, I'm going to pause this video for a few minutes so I take all the strings off. You know how to do that, so be back shortly once the strings are removed. Well, I got this turned up sideways here, guys, and got the strings off. Got the strings taped back here on the workbench so they can't flip up and scratch the body. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in just with this guy. On inside the sound hole, I'm going to tap those pegs that are in there and see if I can get them to loosen up and come out. So here we go. See what's going to happen here. Holy man. Somebody rammed them in there pretty hard. Jeepers. Yeah, there's one out, coming out. Okay, got them loosened up. Get this out of here, if I can. There we go. While we're at it, let's take a look inside this cavity and see what we got as far as, any issues with the bracing. So I'm just gonna see if I can find there's my light. So what I'm gonna do, put this back down. See, now the pegs have been pounded backwards out. They're now to the point here where I can get them out. So this is a good thing. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put this down in here. And what I want to do is I want to check the bracing on this thing. Maybe I'll go to the big one. Just to take a little look, make sure we got nothing loose in here. Oh, it's nice and clean in here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. X bracing on it is what they've used. Nice, nice work on the sides. Don't see any excess sloppy glue jobs anywhere around. So yeah, that's good. So we know we got no problem with the bracing inside, at least on a visual inspection. And this, what I'm doing here is this is normal stuff that you would always hopefully do if you're setting up a guitar that you've never worked on before. And you want to give it back to the customer in a condition that's in good playing condition and order. So, you know, these are the kind of things you have to look at if you want to do that. So now I'm going to pull these pegs out now. The other thing too I'm going to show you here, I'm going to take these pegs out, but I'm going to put them in order over here, okay? And the reason I do that is I'm going to put these pegs back in the same order I took them out. This is something that you should do. Now these guys here, I think I'm going to be able to pull out here with this tool, yeah, because they're not pounded all over. This one here is going to be a pain. It's still, there it comes. So we take them all these out. Still a little tight here. There it comes. Now, what do we got? I don't know what kind of strings these are. They're not D'Addario because they're not the colored bullets on the end. They got brass bullets on the end. So, the thing I want to do too is I want to see what the size of these string gauge is. Because the other thing that'll help a new player or somebody that's got bothered by their fingers is, of course, a lighter set of strings on a guitar. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out what the gauge is on these. So I'm going to get this thing set up and nail it out. And what we're going to do is we're going to go for our small E string here. Try to find out what that gauge is. See if I can get this into inches here. Where's that little string gone? Elevens. Go for the big E one, the big bass here, see what it is. $11.52s is what I've got. So, 11.52s. You know, the more I think about it, you know, I'm looking at this situation. I'd be very inclined to put on a set of 10s on here. You know, that's where my mind is going on this guitar when it's put the strings on, because guaranteed drop. I gotta set the guitar all up anyway. I mean, from scratch, with you know, the nut being lowered and the bridge and the saddle being changed and whatnot. So I'm thinking I'm gonna probably end up putting a set of 10s on here, drop the gauge down, and that is gonna make it a lot better, easier if you will, for this lady who's complaining about her fingers hurting a lot, very hard to play. So yeah, 10s are gonna go back on here, guys. It's that simple. So let's just take a look and see what we got now here. Frets are all in good condition. They're the small, you know, it looks like the 2mm width small frets. Been put in. The sides are bound. You can see that, nice job on that. And you know, nice work on the fret ends as well on this guitar. So no problem at all with that. Let's take a quick look, eyeball down here, down the neck. It's got a little bit of a back bow, which is okay, because once I put the strings on and put it up to tension, I'm going to be setting the relief anyway. And inside here, this is where the truss rod setting, instead of being up here on the neck like a lot of guitars are, in this case here, it's inside underneath the sound hole here. No big deal. Let's make sure I don't get these out of order. These are the little pegs I'm going to move out of the way so I don't touch them. And that's so much for that. So the next little effort is going to be to take this this nut off. So we're gonna remove this guy right out of here and get him off right now. And best way to do that, what I use, I have my own little homemade board here. Little bit of an angle on the end here, and basically what I do is I put that right up against the nut here, give it a little tap, and if all goes well, and hopefully the guy that put that nut on only used a couple drops of glue, at least that's that's what he should have done. That's not always what people do. And sometimes you get a glue job that nut isn't going to come out, and your only option in a case like that is to saw through the middle of this nut with a saw and collapse the nut. But we're hoping that's not the case. So let's just see what happens if we give this a little tap here. Let's just try it. Just like that. So that's how easy it was to take that nut off, and I'm taking a look on the bottom. Yeah, 2 little drops of glue is all that was used to put that nut on. So that's good. So you can see how easy it is with a little tool like that, and you don't have to hit it hard. I just give it a little tap like that. If it's put in the way it should be, that's how quick it is to get that nut off. So good, good, good. Now let's see what else we're going to do here. That's okay. I guess the next thing I want to do is I just want to clean this this slot out so that we don't have any glue left over or little residue left in there. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little piece of sandpaper, and I'm going to just, you'll see what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut a little strip here, just about the thickness of that slot, and I'm going to run that through that slot, just like that. And I make sure that when I put that nut back in, I've got a level and clean surface. And that's really nice now. No problem with that. So that's been looked after. Okie dokie. I think the next effort is going to be, we're going to take this nut down ever so slightly. And by the way I take this nut down is I get on a very flat surface, piece of sandpaper, and I go back and forth like this over the sandpaper, okay? And the whole goal is to take just a little bit off the bottom of this nut, and of course making sure that you keep it nice and flat. You don't want to change the angle or whatnot. So we're going to be very careful when we do that, and we're just going to take just a little bit off this nut. So I'm going to get my sandpaper here, hopefully. Need a little coarser sandpaper for this job. And I'm going to take that little board that I used to take the nut out, nice and flat. And I'm going to take this nut, I'm going to hold it, and I'm just going to start taking a little bit off that nut. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm trying to do this level and even, so I'm not putting any more pressure, you know, on one end or the other. Now we've just taken a little bit off that nut, and I'm just going to slide it in here. I just want to take an eyeball and see what I've done. And you know what? That looks pretty good. You don't have to take much. Very little. Very, very little. Just going to make sure it's... The other thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a finer, very fine sandpaper. This here is 600, I believe. And I'm just going to make sure that that's nice and smooth on the bottom of that nut. So you see what I'm doing. Took it down with a heavier gauge. Just making sure everything is nice and smooth. No edges stuck out. Okay? And we're done with that. Now this is my guess on the nut, eh? So we won't know till we get this back in place if this is correct or not. But I didn't take much off. Drop it ever so little. So that's good. Now what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to put one string on here. And while I get my strings out, because they're just above the cam, I'm going to shut this off for a minute so I can get out my, my set of strings just above the cam there, and be back in a moment. So just hold on. This is interesting, guys. Just going to show you something here. I checked out all these pegs, and when I try to put a peg into these holes, this peg, I don't know if it's the wrong peg, fit in the wrong hole, or what the story is, but these pegs are so small compared to what that hole diameter is those pegs fall right down inside that hole, and you can't get them out without going through the bottom. I thought it was only the first 2 or 3, but they're all like that. So I'm not sure if you know, they were rammed in there too hard, or if somebody changed the pegs and put the wrong size in. Don't know. But I'm going to do a really quick fix. I'm just going to put a little, see what I'm going to do? I'm just going to put a little bit of Scotch tape on the top of this peg here, the whole inch of it, wrap it up just like that, and I'm going to cut the excess off. So I got something that now looks like this, and all I've done is I've added just the thickness of that little tape on that peg. So hopefully now when I put that peg in the slot, sorry, in the hole like I've done, it's now snug. And if I push it down hard, it won't go all the way to the bottom. I can still get my lifting tool in there, and I can still pull it out. So that's the process I'm going to have to follow on every one of these pegs to fix this correctly, so the next guy coming in here trying to change strings isn't pulling his hair out. It's unfortunate whoever put the strings on before didn't fix it right. Give me a little bit of an extra work, you know, to get this set up correctly. But anyways, there they all are now, all in the right order, with that little bit of tape on them. So we're gonna get rid of my mess here now, hopefully. Gotta clean up as you go, eh guys? Don't want the wife coming home and saying, oh my God, you got a dirty workbench. Holy cow, wouldn't want that to happen. So yeah. I just go over and get my garbage can, bring it here. So here we go. You know what? Let's see what this, afraid to look at this. Tell right away. Oh no, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, okay, and the pickup is underneath the saddle. So we're going to make sure the saddle looks nice and level, and it does. The saddle is a proper fit, which it is. I don't think I'm going to drop that saddle right at this moment in time. I want to see what this thing is like once I get a string, the string, like especially the bass, the two strings on here. I want to see what this is going to look like. So make sure they are still there. There they are. So let's take a look here and see what do we got. So there's our big bass string there. So let's start off and let's get it in there and see what kind of a deal we got going here. That's the way it should fit, just like that. Now the other thing I like to do with a guitar, I like to make sure that these nuts are not loose. I think it's number 9. Let me take a look here. Is it number 9? No. We get the right size in a minute. They're always should be the same, but they're not always. They're not always the same. My goodness. What did they use on this Washburn? What did they use? I'm looking for 9. I got everything but. This looks like that might be it. No? Too small? Holy cow. Too small? There's the 10. It's a 10. That was a 9. Anyway, what we're going to do, just to make sure that they're not loose, eh? Now you don't want these tight. You crimp these down real tight, you're going to damage the wood and the finish underneath here. So all we're doing is we're just making sure that they're snug. That's all we're doing here. Nothing more than that. Get that out of the way. Now we're going to put a string on, see what we got going on here. So in we go. Now the way I put strings on might not be the way everybody else does. So let me just get this thing straightened up. And what I do is I take, make sure this is in there and got no slack. Pull it back. And I take the string just about to the next peg. And then what I do is I move back. And see, I haven't got that glued in there yet, eh? Then I'm going to make my bend. And then I'm going to tighten this guy. That's what I'm going to do next. Tighten this guy up. She's coming. Yeah. Now this is where, I guess, the only way I can describe it, this is where your a little bit of experience comes in. Because what I'm trying to do, of course, is drop that nut action down a little bit and just get it a little closer to the, get this a little closer to lower it. You don't push the strings down as hard. And I haven't taken very much off. You see me do the sanding, and to tell you the truth, it feels just about right now to me. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to string, that's the low E. I'm going to string the high E and see now what it feels like. Because if I can get these two correct, don't forget that nut's got to be flat. So if I can get these two probably correct, lowered, then the rest should all be the same. The radius on that should stay the same. So it's just a matter of lowering it all. And I definitely don't want to glue that in place until I've checked this to make sure. So let's get this opened up here. There we go. You know, this set of strings, of course, they tell you if if you don't know what size goes where, they got a nice little legend here, and they tell you, so that I know that my my high E string is silver. So we're just gonna put it in next. Get the first peg. Let's get it in there. Just like that. Make sure it's up. Go about, like again, just past the next peg as far as the break point is concerned on this, where I'm going to bend it. So out I go to about there, come in here, give it a good bend. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten that up. Hopefully tighten it up. So here we go. Let's get her going. Get that out of the way. So she want to pull out on me. Doesn't want it. There we go. Around she goes. Like I say, if I wasn't so lazy, I'd invest in an end on my electric drill to do this, but I haven't done that yet. Don't know why. It's almost there. Oh, it pulled a little bit. I had a little bit. Oh, the peg come out. There we go. In she goes. Once we get the tension on there, she won't pull out. That looks pretty good. Let's get a little tension on here. Okay, let's feel that. Yeah. So I'm just doing this by feel, eh? You know, I've seen all the measurements in the world, putting a line here and putting a mark on that, and on it goes, on it goes, on it goes. And for me, I find that's what I do. I just take it down a little bit like I've done, and basically do it by feel. And those feel good. So I think I'm happy with that. And we're going to take a look. And I think, yeah, drop the action down a bit too. So now we can get an idea. See what's going to happen when the tension goes on. This neck's going to bow a bit, eh? And that action is going to come up a little bit. So probably need a little bit off this bridge as well from the look of it. So I'm going to think about that. These I can loosen up right now. Because I'm in a position now, I'm going to glue this, put the 2 drops of glue, and I'm going to put this this guy in place so it's not going to fall around. Get this nut in place correctly so it's not loose like that. And how do we do that, you ask? Well, you don't need much, guys. You don't need much. Just use a little crazy glue. I use these little guys, little dispenser bottles, eh? And what I do to put this on, make a little break. I take my take a toothpick, cut the end off it like that. Put a little crazy glue on the end there, kind of like this. Hopefully. Where's that crazy glue? There it is. And I'm just going to put a drop there. And I put a drop there. So that's it. I put 2 drops of crazy glue for this this nut, eh? And we're going to put it in place now. Now it won't take long for that to set. The only thing I have to make sure is I keep it flush, which it is. And if I want to make sure, give it a little shot of accelerator. I don't know how that stuff finds its way into a little crevice, but it always does. And that's on there perfectly. The nice thing about this, I can reuse it, throw that in the garbage, and I can reuse this again. Once it's open, the shelf life of this crazy glue isn't the greatest, so if I don't use that tube in the next week, it's going to have to go in the garbage, and I'll be using a new one. Okie dokie, that's so far so good. Let's get this, let's start cleaning up a bit of stuff here that we don't probably need again. So we can put this back on now. Just about right. And now the big decision, do I drop that saddle? I'm going to drop it just ever so slightly. It's not a big deal. I've got more saddles that fit this guitar, so I'm not really worried if, for example, I do something wrong and I have to replace the saddle. They're not that expensive anyway, so it's not really a big deal. But you know what? I got a funny feeling I just need to take it down just ever so slightly. So you know what? Same process, flat board. Get my coarser sandpaper, and again, make sure pressure is even, back and forth. Just like that. I'm not going to take it down that much. Keep in mind, if you take it down too much, you're done. You're better to loosen the strings off and take the nut out if you have to take it down a bit more. And this is just a fine sandpaper to make sure I have an absolute smooth bottom on that nut. So I've not taken that nut down very much. Slide her back in. Just like that. Now we're gonna put some tension on here. Nuts in place. We got our low E string set in place. Nothing's gonna fall out. And we're gonna put our high E string in place so it's not gonna fall out. So much for that. And you know what I'm going to do before I get all these strings on place here? I'm going to do what I always do with all my guitars. I'm going to take some Dunlop 65 and I'm going to clean this before I get all those strings on, or it becomes hard to get underneath here and do a good cleaning job. I got one other little thing I'm going to do before I string this, and you'll see that just in a minute. But this gets it all nice and clean, eh? Make sure there's no fingerprints, no spots, make it look nice. Why not, eh? For the time it takes. Look at that. Boy, that looks nice. Okay, what else do we have to do on this? Well, gonna just take this off a bit, back this back up a little bit. Put that down there. I think we're okay. Take this out of the way again. Set them up here. I'm gonna take a little bit of tape here. Want that string out of the way. And I want the other string out of the way just for a moment. Just take a little bit. Just hold this string out of the way. And I'm going to go down to my little cache of stuff down here. And what am I looking for? What am I looking for? I'm looking for linseed oil. And I'm looking at that for a reason. Because when I've got these strings off, this is the time that you want to condition this right here with linseed oil. And all that's going to do is going to seal that rosewood, and it's going to stop grime and grit and moisture getting into that board. And I've only put 2 drops of linseed oil on this paper towel here. So I'm not putting a lot of linseed oil. You don't want this in gobs here. You want this just covering. So we're going to do that. Get that done before we go any further with the restringing. That thing doesn't want to sit there. I don't know why. It's that string that's causing me problems. There we go. I need a little bit more. A little bit more down here at the bottom. Like I say, 2 drops here, guys. That's all I'm using on this thing. Very little. This board was not dirty at all. I didn't even bother cleaning it because this board is not. I don't know if this guitar's ever been played. From the look of it, there's absolutely no marks in the frets as far as fretware is concerned. There's no grime on this fretboard. It looked absolutely clean as a whistle. So, anyway, we do that. Just going to go over it one more time to make sure that it's well conditioned. Putting a little thicker on, but I'll be wiping it off anyway. Yep, we're just about done with that conditioning. That's done. Just wipe the excess off now. So much for that. It's done. Okie dokie. That goes the Dunlop 65. Put these strings back up on top here. Bring them up, a bit of tension again. No problem with that. It's looking good. Put the next one on, which is the red 5th string. Oh, you know what I should do? While I'm thinking about it, I got a little linseed oil left on this cloth. Why don't I just touch up this, just put a little on this, little conditioning on this bridge before I get all the strings on. Right now I got lots of room to work around underneath the string here, no problem. But just condition that while I'm at it. Only take a moment to do. Make sure I wipe off any excess that's stuck there. I don't want to ever leave that on the wood, eh? It'll you want to have that just on the rosewood there. So we want to make sure if we have any of that at all on the guitar top, we want to make sure we take it off like that. Make sure it's clean. That's good. Now we're all set. Finally, we're all set, eh? Get the next string on. Same idea. Put this through. Make sure you've got everything out of here. Take it to the next peg. Bring it back. Crimp it. Hopefully take it back and crimp it. Sometimes it don't want to stay. There we go. Tighten her up. That's nice. Next one here is a purple, I believe. Yeah. Same thing. Make sure I got nothing here left to pull out. It's right up there as far as it'll go. Take it to the second one here. Bring it back. Crimp it around. Tighten this one up. The other thing I try to do is I try to keep these strings so they're in the right. Yeah, they don't overlap on top of one another on this peg. So they're they're nice and neat. And sometimes it's hard to do, but not that hard. Just be careful. Take your time. That one's wanting that one there's wanting to go the wrong way. You gotta pull it up with your fingernail. Get it back into position. Finish tightening it up. Hopefully. That one's really being a pain. They want to overlap the one above it instead of pulling it up tight. There it goes. It wants to be a pain. Just doesn't want to go down where it should for some reason. There it goes. Once you get the tension on it, no problem. Oh yeah, it did pull. And the peg come out on me, eh? Even though I put that on there, that peg still come out. So let me go look for the peg that popped. Be right back. Well, the good news is we found that peg. It was just laying over underneath here. And what I did, I had to put a little bit more tape on, a double layer of tape, to get that peg to be tight enough in that hole to hold. So that worked fine. I put all the rest of them in. I got it up to pitch, and I took a look at this guitar, and she looks pretty good, from what I can tell here. So just gonna take a look at the specs on this now, see what the heck we got. Get my handy dandy gauge out. So we've dropped the strings down, and the other thing that I did, I forgot to show you on the video here, is I have a special Allen key here. Where did it go? Laying somewhere in the mess. There it is. Got this special key like this, because you need a real long one. This darn, if you go up there to adjust that this bar, it's way up in here. So it's right underneath that, as a matter of fact. So this has to go up a long way. So a regular Allen key, like in a set like this, with a little end on it only coming this far, is not long enough to go up and get into that Allen key to adjust the truss rod. So what I did, I did adjust the truss rod, and I think I measured it, but I'll just show you again what we're looking at doing here. What we end up doing is get my handy dandy capo out. Better get the big one. What we do is we put the capo on the first fret here, and then we get our feeler gauges like this. And this is a special one for guitars, and of course the 10/1000ths of an inch is the kind of the standard for 10 or 12 for most guitars. So they got the 10/1000ths in gold. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the capo on one, hold the fret down here, and then we're just going to look and see what we have here. And we've got exactly 10/1000ths of an inch relief on that neck. That's on the bass E string. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and I'm going to check the high E and see what it's at. So we're going to hold it down. And it's about the same. So that's actually low relief for an acoustic guitar. 10/1000ths of an inch on the neck relief. I got it tuned up to pitch now here, and I was gonna do a measurement here. I'll take a look here, and we've got got 5/64 string height off the 12th fret on the on the low E string. That was almost 8. It's just under 5, as a matter of fact, just below 5, just a smidgen below 5. So that's fairly low action on an acoustic guitar here. And let's check the E here. 2.5 to 3 on the high E. So I wouldn't want to take that action any lower. Just checking for choking out on a bend, that's all, guys. If I bend this, this string. So, I would say, what I did, I didn't know what the specs should be on the Washburn. I kind of took a look on their site. I didn't really see what I was looking for. So what I did is I set the specs up on this guy exactly like I do on a Taylor guitar. So on the Taylor guitar, I try to get about 4.5 to 5 64ths on the low E. I try to get around 3 64ths on the high E. I try to get a relief somewhere between 10 1/1000ths and 12 1/1000ths of an inch on the neck relief. And so this has been basically set up, and of course I dropped the nut too, eh? So now, nice feel on this. It's not hard on the fingers to push this down. I didn't drop it much, just a smidgen, but very easy to play now. So, yeah. The other thing I noticed about this guitar is with a solid mahogany body that this has got, you've got a really, it's a deep tone wood, eh? So it's not like, for example, my Taylor with a Sitka spruce top on it. It's obviously got a lot of, you know, tinkle high end on it. But I have an Ibanez that's like this kind of thing too, eh? That's pretty well, you know, a mahogany, and it sounds the same. It's got that deep, beautiful, deep, rich tone to it. And yeah, I'm just going to polish this up a little bit just to get it shiny. I had to get my fingerprints off it from working on it. I don't think there's any marks on that I can see. But she's nice and shiny now across the top. Yeah, it looks good, eh? Just make sure I get out from there. That's good. So what else do I want to polish? I want to polish this a bit here too on the side, I guess. Put a little spray here. Do a little on the back. Make it look nice. You know, for the time it takes to you know, polish the guitar, like, take a little time and make sure it's nice and clean. So we do a fair amount on this guitar. Oh, doesn't that look nice? Yeah, beautiful, beautiful wood on this guy. I think anyway. Notice it's got a little mark there, little scuff mark, very small on the bottom here. Other than that, I don't see any other marks on it. That will probably, that little wee tiny mark there, I can probably polish that out, I think. Make it very hard to see anyway. Yeah. And let's take a look at this neck here, what it looks like in the back here. It seems in good shape too. Got a little wee mark on the neck right there. I'm gonna get rid of that with some polish here. I can get rid of that, I think. It's another little wee tiny mark right there, but I'm not going to get rid of that one. It's in just a little mark. It's not really it's not going to affect your playability or nothing. That came off nice. So there we go. That's looking pretty good, guys. So what do you think? What we need to do now is take it in the studio and amp it, give it a shot, see what it sounds like. That's, I think, the next effort here. So we got the fretboard all reconditioned, and like I say, we got the nut dropped. I did drop the bridge a little bit, not much. So let's go into the studio and amp it up and see what she sounds like. See you in the studio. Be right back. Well, we're in the studio room here, and we got our Washburn guitar plugged in. Got her amped. I got a mic in front of me as well, you can see. Let's see what this thing sounds like. Spark works nice now. Sustain's good. Sounds good, eh? I like the guitar. I'd play this guitar right the way it is right now, set up nice. Let's try a song here. I'm going to try capo. Now we're going to find out if there's any buzz, eh? Put her up here. The only two things in life that make it worth living is guitars that tune good and firm, feeling women. I don't need my name in the marquee lights. I got my song and I got you with me tonight. And maybe it's time we got back to the basics of love. Let's go to Looking Back, Texas, with Waylon Willie and the boys. This successful life we're living got us feuding like the Hatfields and the boys. Between Hank Williams paint songs and Newberry Train songs and Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, out in Looking Back, Texas, ain't nobody feeling no pain. So baby, let's sell your diamond ring, buy some boots and faded jeans and go away. This coat and tie is choking me, in your high society you cry all day. They've been so busy keeping up with the Joneses, 4 o'clock on our arms and we're still building on. Of love. Here we go. Let's go to Looking Back, Texas, with Waylon Willie and the boys. This successful life we're living got us feuding like the Hatfields and the boys. Between Hank Williams paint songs and Newberry Train songs and Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, Looking Back, Texas, ain't nobody feeling no pain. Out Looking Back, Texas, ain't nobody feeling no pain. a good setup guitar for this lady. Hopefully she enjoys to play in it. And like I say, what did we do? We lowered the action a bit on the bridge. We dropped the nut, set the relief, did some conditioning on the guitar. And the other thing I did is I dropped the strings from number 11 down to number 10. And of course that a little easier on the fingers, the smaller the gauge on the strings. And I really don't think you know, moving a lot from down from 11 to 10 is going to do a lot to hurt the sound quality. It's just a little easier on the fingers, eh? So hopefully that's it for today. Gonna lay my guitar down and over and out, and we'll see you soon. May God bless.